All right, good morning. February 21st, 2024, analysis for ES. Um, I just posted a couple posts in regarding to this, but I want to just kind of briefly discuss it via video. Um, these are all my intraday levels here, all the way back last few days here. So let's just get rid of those quickly, just to clean this chart up here. Okay. And I want to get my fib pulled back on here quickly for my discussion purposes. So we're going to take the fib off the high. There we go. So like I mentioned, I mean, we pulled all the way back to February, early February. Like I'm talking like the first couple days, end of January lows, just in this time frame. That's how far. That's how quickly we've come down. And here's the January 31st low. Um, and it kind of makes sense that we've had some of these big down days, right? Because a lot of times you're going to match that energy from these big up days. You know, liquidity down, you got low volume, high volume nodes, all that kind of stuff working in conjunction with, what happened prior, if that makes sense. So, I guess my current, like what I'm talking about here recently is this, like we got this low, and if we're gonna, let's just take, I mean, we don't know if the low is in. We are dealing with some low volume nodes below us here that could, I mean, this could easily take us down into the we've already breached 5,000. We've already breached it pretty heavily at that level at 49.62 ish. And the linear regression channels are really steep right now, and they got high correlation, especially the 89. We're setting a 0.93 correlation on that, and or coefficient, whatever that is. So like I had mentioned, we're kind of having that 144 channel that is sitting at the 382. And what do we know about the fib retracements? I've talked about this a lot. The 236 and the 382s are very, very, very high probability that they're going to come and tag. And if we look at that low that we put in here at the 49.62 level, we already did retrace into that 236 at 59 or 50.50 area. So, now are we looking at a little double bottom here? I know we didn't make a co-equal bottom, but what we always look for, right, are the W pattern setups. So like we're working on a W pattern right now. They don't always work out to where you have a co-equal low, although that would be ideal. And that's why I say we don't know if the low is in, because that came down to about the middle of this low volume node right here. I would have loved it to even make a lower low and come down here to hit that 49.46 level. That's what we were kind of that's what I was looking at on Friday, was maybe we come back to touch that low, or come down to touch that shoulder on the 2-hour down here at 49.48, 46 level, somewhere in there. But these are the kind of things we always look at in regards to, like, okay, where's the bottom at? What are we looking at for this bottom? I want to get rid of this W quick. So, and what we talk about too is like first try. We're gonna come down, make a second try type situation. Usually it's something like that, right? First try, second try, and then sometimes you get a third try. A 1, 2, and then it fails again, and then you get the pump. And that's kind of what we're looking for. That's what I'm looking for, anyways. And this is what I keep saying too, is that, well, you have these areas where it will push, right? You come down into these certain levels, and you find buyers are willing to step back in, and then this thing comes up. Now, that being said, let's pull this out just to the daily quickly here. And let's take this thing all the way back to October. And let's pull a fib from this low there, right? So if we're looking at it from that time frame, right? We're looking on the daily, and if this thing wants to come in and bounce, you know, like we're looking at these levels in here, right? So, I mean, I would have liked to see it come down and touch that other level, but the distinct possibility is maybe we get a 382 retrace on the daily before this thing maybe wants to continue forward. Again, you take it here now and you look and we're like, okay, wow, this is still very bullish. I mean, this could just be a pullback if this thing wants to continue higher. I mean, because look at this thing, man. We've had like what? I got this on Heikinashi. Let me flip it over to regular candles for this, because this turn back over. Okay, that needs to stay on regular candles. Okay, so I mean, if we're looking at the higher time frame daily, I mean, we're not that far from a 382 retrace, and the possibility of that is very real. Very real. So that's kind of like, you know, when we take it back, let's go back to the 2 hour. Let's see here. Now we're looking all the way down to this level here, but we do have a very significant pivot bottom, or a pivot point right here. And I'll mark that off with one of my rays. Right there. And then if you look here, I mean, we have a pivot point there, but then what do we have right here? Like, look at all this over here, right? Got a big level there, which is where? 49.15. Which, if we go back up to the daily, oh, wow, it sits right on the 382. So, I'm not saying that, I mean, we could, I mean, here's the, all we talk about is possibilities. I mean, this run could not be finished yet, and we could want to come all the way down to that level that we talked about, which is right through here. Let's just draw our box quickly. And I would say this is the level through here, right? We don't want to be a dick for a tick. And this, when we're talking about these bigger time frames, you know, that doesn't always hold the case, right? But again, this is going to be a very key level, in my opinion. I don't think we just fall through here. But if we look at all of this, right, you know, we're sitting right at the bottom of a shoulder. So if we wanted to really take this box and say, what are the possibilities? Let's take it down to like right there and maybe right here. You know, we have the level at 49, you know, again, for here. Let's call it 49.12 to 49.20. But then you have like all of this stuff here, like we're right on 49.50, 49.15.50 is what I put that line on. Again, I just kind of eyeballed it. If we wanted to rip back over here and really scrutinize and analyze this over here, going, okay, well, what's the best level to have this at? You know, I'm not even touching down here, so let's get into it. Let's really get into it. Let's really look at these levels here, right? Let's really examine these levels. Okay, so you got double tops here, almost touches there. You got a bunch of lines that want to touch into there. You know, we're quite a ways from that. That's a big jump there, but I mean, it's still within a realm, if you want to call it that. All right, So, boom, there we go. And I look in, again, this box I'm kind of taking off this LVN right here, right? I'm taking it off this little node right here, which is a little hard to see. But we've got a node right there. But here's the distinct possibility too. I mean, we got the double Linreg channel. I mean, this could easily come up to hit this, come back up to retest the 236. We could come up to test that, and then we pop down to retest this maybe before, maybe we get a pull forward. We don't know if this is an actual, this is just a pullback in my opinion, as we stand and look at it in this moment. We are obviously in a local downtrend. There is no denying that, but are we in a correction from the standpoint of, okay, now the market is headed to where? We don't know. So if I'm looking at it again, we pop up to the daily chart. We just don't know yet, because this is just a correction back. I mean, it happened quickly, and this is again why I like the short, is because sometimes when this thing wants to go, man, it just goes. And the opportunity to sit in that short, especially if you're an options guy, and you look at the options plays at a little longer time frame, and maybe you short, or maybe you put options plays on like the triple Qs or the SPY or something like that. I mean, you're in the money big time right now. So there's the daily, and again, the daily right now. This is what I said. Are we close? I mean, can it still come down here? I mean, this can still be oversold, but I mean, look at the oscillators. I mean, this could still be coming down. I mean, if this thing makes a zero line cross, then we might be into some serious trouble here. But all these oscillators are kind of flashing red. The fast moving or slow moving RSI is down there. What you want to see on this, in my strategy, is you want to see the line. You want to see this moving average of the RSI get closer to like your lower boundaries here, especially when it exceeds, this line or this line. Even though, see when it's up here, I mean, but we've just been a raging bull market. But like when you're above the 200 as much as you are now, we're coming back towards that. You don't always get it. A lot of, like, if you look here, we're still on the uptrend. I mean, we had this downward trend here, but we kept popping up, and then we pop back up. Like a lot of times, it'll sit down here for, a few days, and then it'll go again. And you can see that as this thing continued to uptrend. And then we came back here and chopped a little bit through the summer, and then we popped back up. But these oscillators, you're not taking a buy going, okay, this is way oversold. You're kind of you have to really wait on these higher time frames. I'm just saying, we're both oscillators are really, everything is far down, and especially on my fast moving MACD, which obviously moves a lot quicker, we're really oversold on that. So that's why when I talk about this 2-hour time frame, we don't know if it's going to want to come down to touch these areas first and then bounce, or we get a bounce first, because again, here we are again. You got to love to see, we had this bottom here and then we bounced. Is this going to improve, not pull back as much, and then we catapult up into these areas? We don't know. But just like I said, giving you a little analysis on it, combined with like the double fibs here, like I said, just trying to figure out what my moves might be here into these following next couple weeks. So here's the lower time frame fib, like we talked about again, maybe coming up into the 382 level, and this is the daily. Maybe we do come that far up, I don't know, but look how far extended we're out of the linear regression channels right now on the daily. and those things are still sporting high numbers on the correlation or coefficient or whatever. Um, so take that down to the 2 again here. So yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? This is the big question. These are just some of the possibilities, and these are the places I would look for. You know, I would look for rejection at this first level up here into the 5950, 5960 areas. Obviously, we have some congestion right there. And then if we do look up to that area where right now, you know, we have some confluence with the 38, like it said, the 382 and the upper channel of the 144 at 5102 level, but look at all that junk in there. So, you know, definitely, you know, if we do pop into those levels, I'm definitely not looking to get long through there. Even though we do have a low volume node and that can pop, I would not be looking to long quite yet on this 2-hour chart. I'd be looking more at the short play yet, because we're, you know, technically we'd still be in this downtrend. So, and then on the short side, these would be my targets. So let me see here. So, you know, you might Sunday morning have something coming into here like this, and then you could maybe have a takeoff up into the channel, or vice versa. You have this, and then you take off down into the lows again, bounce play, and then we come into the, you know, here's a node, da 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 da, maybe a bounce, or, you know, we come into the levels that we just talked about. And then vice versa. You know, over here, if this wants to play, you know, you get a little, this action, and then we bounce into maybe up there. You know, this could potentially keep going back up into this shelf at the top of this node. And then if it really wants to, like, blow people up a little bit and think that, oh, this thing's, we bottomed and we're raging higher, then we come into like levels up here, and that would be the 5-0, right? 50% retracement from where we're at now. So, you know, that being said, that's what we're looking for at this week, and all you can do is really wait and play it and see how it's going to happen, and then again, then you shuffle down to your lower time frames to be taking your entries and your trades, and you know, all the key levels that will occur down in those time frames. So as of right now, we're looking pretty bearish, but again, we do have a lot of bottoming down here. We got a bottom on our fast moving RSI on the 2-hour chart. At some point this will bottom and turn up on our fast moving MACD. It always does. And we're below the 0 line right now, so that's bearish. But again, as these want to turn up, you know, if this thing wants to turn up at some point here and push, you know, again, that would be the impetus for pushing up into these areas here. So hopefully that gives us a little roadmap here into the next week at least, maybe a little further into that. But I would say it gives us a little roadmap here, probably into this week for sure, on which way we go from there. What I would, you know, I mean, I don't really care what happens, but, you know, does this trend want to continue into these levels here maybe before we get a bounce back up, and then we'd have to readjust our fibs and all that stuff too. But at least on the low time frames, or on this time frame that we drew this fib here. So again, what we're really going to look for, let me get rid of all this stuff here. What we're really probably going to look for is to see if this W pattern starts to play out, right? That's what I'm kind of like curious to see if that's, if this was the bottom, you know, because we've breached, I mean, we have breached 5,000 twice. So, I mean, are we setting up a nice little W pattern here? Again, they're not always perfect. It'd be great to pop off that level here again, and maybe we do get that. Maybe we do get that come down here before it goes. But again, we'll see, have to see how this plays out. But that's kind of, if we're going to get upside, that's kind of what I would be looking for. Is maybe a continuation of this into Monday, and then this thing goes Sunday, Monday, and then it maybe pops, or we just come down to this level, and then we start a new pattern of basing in W before we want to go back potentially maybe to the upside, or we just keep trending down. And if that's the case, there's all kinds of levels in here. I would imagine now, if we look at this fib level, and this will be the end of it here because this is getting a little long. But just to end this thing here, here we are in the daily. If we do come down on this level, maybe we hold it. If we do break down, then all of this area here is in play. So from what we just talked about in this area, all the way down into 47.77, and at the low 47.67 and a quarter, because we got that little tail there before it took off a little bit. But if we breach this, I would say all of this is in play. And if this holds, then again, we've already talked about our upper target. So anyways, what's kind of wild is we have all of this happening over here, this momentum, and now we're starting to get a little bit of a turn, which is a little wild. But again, we're very oversold. Like this here on the daily makes me think also, like, holy cow, that's really, on the MACD, on the fast moving MACD, when you get these really whippy pull downs like this, like you feel like there's going to be a bounce somewhere. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating, is we're already maybe in the bounce, or we got a little bit more to go before we bounce, at least up into some of the fib levels on the locals, like the 2-hour fib. And then obviously, like I said, here's our daily fib levels. Like, it'd probably be ideal if we came down, hit that 382, and then bounce, but we'll just have to see how this week plays out. So anyways, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will, I may start doing some more of these. Just been busy with so much other stuff at the moment, so I may jump on more of these. I may do some more oil stuff. I really, honestly, here's the flip side of all this too. We got a ton of headline risk. We're coming into an election year. We're also coming into the summer months, which can tend to slow down a little bit more. So we'll just have to, again, keep your eye on the charts every day, multiple times a day, to make sure you're up to date on all this stuff. But lot of stuff going on. So I may do an oil one here too, but that's it for now. We'll see you guys around.